companies go international for different reasons. One of the most common is market-seeking internationalization, meaning they're going and trying to get new customers in other markets. And I guess growth is the main benefit that these kinds of companies are looking for. Internationalization can, of course, also be for other reasons, to get more efficiency in the operations. So you have the outsourcing of manufacturing, other services to other countries. That is also, in a sense, internationalization. What I'm thinking about there is China's economy opened up in 1978. So that was about 40 years ago. India's economy liberalized from 1991. So that's between 25 and 30 years ago. In this period, a lot of these companies, first of all, in these countries, I think, became nervous about facing competition from foreign companies. And many of them simply didn't have the experience, the expertise, and so on to deal with that. But I think, first of all, many of these companies have shown that you can, in fact, compete with international companies, especially because as local companies, you have deep understanding of the local markets, which these foreign companies do not have. So I think that is one of the important lessons to understand, the importance of deep customer insight into any market. But also from both of these countries, a lot of companies have tried to go international. Now they're at a disadvantage most often because when they go outside of their home countries, they're not so well known, right? This would be true of Mexican companies too. Usually from an emerging market, if a company tries to go international, especially if it tries to go into developed markets, they're not very well known. The customers there don't necessarily think, products from that country will be great. So there, I think, a couple of interesting things we've seen. One is, especially on the Chinese side, making acquisitions in foreign markets and then giving the acquired company a lot of autonomy, which I think is interesting. Some of my colleagues call this a light touch method, a light touch approach to integrating acquisitions. I don't know whether it'll continue like that forever, probably not. But I think that's another interesting insight, that when you acquire another company, very often you may lose the advantage of what you got from that company if you control them too much. And simply because these companies in emerging markets realize they don't understand these developed markets. But again, it comes back to my original point. It's about understanding markets. So when you have that deep understanding, exploit it. When you don't have that deep understanding, then have the humility to learn from those who do. So how good a company is at learning about the international markets is absolutely critical. And when you learn, go through a learning process in internationalization, it's important to develop knowledge about markets that are specific to certain markets. So if I come into the Mexican market as an Asian company, I need to understand the specifics of the Mexican market, right? But there's also, over time, as you do multiple market entries, acquiring more generalizable internationalization knowledge about how to establish strategic partnerships, about how to make decisions of when, where, and how to enter. Because ultimately, this internationalization process is a series of market entries. This adaptability piece is extremely important, and how they use these partnerships to learn about these foreign markets makes a huge difference. Where Latin American companies are different from Western companies is in their ability to deal with a lot of the problems and hassle that you have in any emerging market. And so it would be interesting to see going forward how Latin American companies now try to internationalize into other emerging markets. So in China, for example, Latin American companies have already, in certain industries, I think, made some progress. Wine companies, for example, wine from Chile, I think is well known now. And so there are huge opportunities. But everything that I said about adaptability, learning, and the importance of partners, that's going to be key.